Hi, this month I've been looking at self-awareness and self-reflection. I'm delighted to be joined by James Argent to explore this further. James, thanks for your time today. How are you?
Yeah, I'm very well. Yeah, it's good to be here. Nice to see you again.
Yeah, it's good to see you as well, James. James, you're currently the program development quality manager at Shannon Trust. Formerly, you were one of the regional managers at Shannon Trust, and before that, you had a number of roles at Princess Trust, most likely in a program management role. So lots of opportunity there for working with other people and thinking about how you show up in your role, etc. So lots of experience to draw upon in terms of self-awareness and self-reflection. And we worked together in a coaching relationship recently whilst you were at Shannon Trust. So thank you for your time today in terms of helping me explore self-awareness and self-reflection a little further. I've got three questions for you, if that's okay. And the first question is, what does self-awareness and self-reflection mean to you?
I think for me, it comes down to having an awareness of what you're good at and what you're not so good at, even kind of getting into, what you're really not very good at, what you might be bad at. And, in the work context, then understanding how your strengths and weaknesses around just, skills, experiences, but also, personality traits, things like that. Where your strengths lie and maybe where your weaknesses lie. And then beyond that, I think in terms of weaknesses, I think where self-awareness is important is to have an understanding of if you have a weakness, and obviously everyone has weaknesses, and understanding, recognizing whether it's something that you need to work on and get better at because you need to, you want to, or maybe looking at things that you're not very good at and just kind of admitting that and saying, this is not a strength of mine because I don't have the skills. It's just not a strength of mine because it doesn't suit my personality type. And then almost maybe knowing, where to cut your losses. So rather than continually spending a lot of time and energy working on things that you're not great at to get slightly better, maybe that time and energy is better spent doing the things that you're already pretty good at, and getting even better at those things. So I think for me, when you've got the better your self-awareness, I think the more able you are to recognize again what the strengths and weaknesses are, and then on the weaknesses side, whether it's something you need to worry about, whether it's something you need to just try and work around and minimize as best you can, that doesn't cause too much of an issue at work.
Yeah, great. I like that. I like the idea of recognizing where your strengths are and building on them, and then working out which of your weaknesses you're actually going to spend time on and which ones you're just going to park. Yeah, that's really great.
Yeah.
So how did coaching help you develop greater self-awareness and self-reflection?
I think it was a great opportunity to have a completely impartial, non-judgmental sounding board outside of the organisation where I work. It was timely in the sense that Shannon Trust, my employer, was going through a restructure, in the midst of a restructure, or just emerging from a restructure about the time that we started working together. Maybe in the grand scheme of things, compared to other organisations, not radical, but by the standards of an organisation that hadn't changed a great deal in many years, certainly in the time that I'd been at Shannon Trust, nothing really had changed significantly. It was, a pretty big change in terms of changes of job roles, people that have been in the organisation for many years leaving, lots of new people joining to take their place in newly created roles. So it was it was very timely from that point of view, just to have someone that I could talk to and maybe share issues, concerns with, some of which actually, to be honest, I'd never really been conscious of until having the conversations with you as the coach. It kind of helped me articulate certain things that maybe had been bothering is the right word, but things around the restructure that were having an impact on my work that I just hadn't really considered that much, and how I would maybe handle things differently if I was to go through another restructure with an employer in the future, and maybe, you know, just take a more proactive approach rather than be kind of, you know, a bit of a passenger, and, you know, wait for the restructure to happen to me rather than be involved in the process. So yeah, so it was a really good time. I mean, it's probably always a good time to have a coach, but I think it was particularly timely to have someone like you there who I could talk to, who you know, not my manager, not someone senior to me in an organization, who I could share my thoughts with, maybe in a slightly different way than I would have done in a one-to-one or an appraisal or something like that. So yeah, so I think the coaching did help me develop that self-awareness, and yeah, definitely.
Thank you for that. And what's been the benefit to you with that increased level of self-awareness and self-reflection?
Well, I would say the ultimate benefit is that I am now with the same organization, but I'm doing a different job. I'm doing a job that didn't exist before I started doing it at the turn of the year. It's a job that maybe, having not had the coaching, if I'd been offered it, I might not have taken the plunge and gone for it, because I was in my previous role with Shannon Trust for around 7 years. So clearly it was something that, you know, I liked if I'd been there that long. But going back to what I was saying earlier, there were aspects of that job that were never the best fit for my, you know, just the way I am, my skill set, my experiences, my personality. And I feel like the job I'm doing now is actually a much better fit for me as a person. So one of the things that we talked about, when we were going through the coaching process, was about aspects of my previous job that I found less enjoyable, more difficult. And the job I do now, basically, those aren't a factor in the same way. So I've removed those weaknesses. And again, I now, in the job now, I feel like more kind of plays to my strengths. So I put my own time and energy into what I'm good at, rather than constantly worrying about stuff that I'm not so good at, the stuff I'm weaker at. And I think in my new job as well, it gives me a chance to be more strategic within the organization. So I know one of the things we talked about in our sessions was the concept of operating at different altitudes. I think in this job I do now, I probably maybe sometimes overtly, sometimes more subconsciously, and able to operate at a slightly higher altitude. And I sort of have the role that I do within Shannon Trust. I'm kind of the only person that deals with the stuff that I deal with. So if our CEO needs to know about the sort of stuff that I do, he talks to me because I'm the guy. So I guess we all like to feel valuable and like we're making a difference. Certainly, obviously, in the charity sector, you work in the charity sector, ultimately you want to feel like you're, you know, doing good, making a difference, rather than just, you know, ticking a box, collecting your paycheck or whatever. And I think the job I'm in now, then yeah, I definitely get that sense that I'm kind of, you know, my skills and knowledge are appreciated by my employer. Yeah, and like I said, I think you know, that change came about in definitely in part because of the coaching and the increase in self-awareness and those conversations that we had over the preceding months before the opportunity for the new job came up.
Fantastic. I mean, and that's a great story, James. So thank you for sharing it with us. It's nice to see how that process of coaching and just getting a better understanding of what it is kind of play to your strengths, etc., and then grasping that opportunity is really good to hear. So thank you for sharing that with me.
No worries.
And thank you for your time today.
Yeah, no worries. You're welcome.
As always, if anything we've raised today has any questions for anybody watching, then please get in touch. I'll be delighted to hear from you. So thanks for watching.